Paranormal, UFOs, monsters, mysteries. You're listening to Talking Weird. And now, from a cabin deep in the Northwoods, your hosts, Dr. Dean Bertram and Jen Durrell.
Well, hey, baby.
Hey, baby.
How's the night so far in the wonderful state of Missouri?
I think it's going pretty good. So how about you?
That's good. No, it's good here. It's warmed up in the Northwoods. It's
Yeah.
been it's been strange here lately. Actually, I mentioned to you, and I'll tell the story now because I think the audience will dig it.
Yeah.
2 nights ago, I was woke. It must have been about 5 a.m. I was dead to the world, like just sound asleep, and I was woken by I don't know, like a clamor, like, something banging around. And I thought in my half awake mind, oh, it was my cat in the garage trying to get in because it can make a little bit of noise. So I thought it's out of control tonight, though. But as I got out of bed, it just occurred to me that's pretty loud for the cat. And so I grabbed a handgun, as you do, because it's the middle of the night and, somebody might be trying to come inside your house. And so I walked into my kitchen towards the way the sound was coming from. And it wasn't coming from the garage. It was coming from a wall in the kitchen. And all of a sudden, there was a bang from inside that wall, which sounded like somebody was hitting it with a sledgehammer. Like it was loud. It wasn't a little bang. It wasn't a little mouse or something. It was this incredible noise. And then I thought, what on earth? I thought an animal was going to come through it or something. But so I was totally awake by now. So I didn't obviously go back to bed. I looked outside. I checked on the cat.
Yeah.
Talked around the wall to see if I could make the animal move, if it was an animal. But there was no more noise. No more noise. And it's a wall which isn't an exterior wall. It's a wall of the kitchen, which is an interior wall. So I don't know what the hell did it.
Huh.
Like, yeah, loud.
So like a big bang, like maybe
There was lots of it originally, and then the final one when I walked into the kitchen was like you would have thought somebody was coming, like something big was coming through the wall.
So like Bigfoot.
Yeah, but Bigfoot's not in my wall. If it was an exterior
No,
wall,
but
I
it could
might
have banged like on the
No, but
outside
what I
of the
mean is
wall,
if
right?
it was an exterior wall, I might have thought, oh, something, monster outside. But it was an interior wall. Like it's not.
Okay.
That's what I don't
So
understand.
I know you've had issues with mice, so maybe
I have
you've
had
got
mice in
something
that
else
same
bigger.
wall. Well, here's the thing: if something bigger got trapped in there, like I've had mice trapped in there before, I'm presuming that it wouldn't have stopped and not made another noise since. Something big enough to sound like a man hitting a wall with a sledgehammer isn't just going to go silent and stay silent for the next 2 days. I didn't hear it scamper out or anything either. It was just this incredible bang, and then the noise stopped.
Huh.
I know.
I don't know.
Crazy.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Just one time. Nothing else.
Life in the North, which was banging a lot before I came out, but that final one, I was like 6 feet away from the wall when it did it. So I don't know if our good friend and regular guest Ed Schultz just said Tommy knockers in the comments.
Yeah, I'm like trying to.
I don't know. Maybe
look at all these.
I mean, I'll be honest. I don't know if it was some spiritual manifestation or if it was. I don't know. The pipes in the walls knocking or a raccoon or I have no idea.
That's crazy.
And Linda Judd asked where we were hosting from. Well, I'm in the north. I'm in the Northwoods.
I'm in Missouri. He is in Wisconsin.
Yeah, deep in the Northwoods.
But there's StreamYard, so that helps.
Yeah, at least we can.
Yeah. So our guests, they're just scrambling right now, trying to get on. Okay. So they'll be on in just a minute.
Well, you tell me a paranormal story then. In the meantime, I just told one from here. You've got to have some weird story from the last couple of weeks, if not this week. What's some weird phenomena phenomenon?
Well, it's been quite windy off and on here in Missouri, and where I work at, the house is on a bluff. So you leave something open, another door or something else is going to end up shutting. So we've had a lot of stuff like that, but nothing fun, really. Nothing that I could think of. except for my own phone going off today when we were closing up. I didn't
Huh.
really say anything like, "Hey, Siri," but it said, 1 sec.
Yeah,
But,
that's right. You
those
said
are
just
apps, though.
yeah,
Yeah,
who
yeah, I
knows?
don't know. I don't think I said anything that was anything close to "Hey, Siri." Usually, I have to yell, "Hey, Siri," but it
You'll
was
have
enough.
you'll have to ask the guest tonight about, because it's
Yeah.
especially about apps when it comes to paranormal phenomena and ghost hunting apps. Because 'cause I'm always
Oh, for
suspicious
sure.
of how a phone with a program is
Uh-huh.
able to somehow engage the spirit world or let the spirits talk through it. To me, it just seems like it's probably a program which spits out half-sensical things which can be taken to
Well,
be, voices from the other side.
yeah. No, I mean, I use an app that I really like it because it's not as loud as a spirit box. I love spirit boxes, but sometimes it's hard to decipher anything. And of course, I'm automatically going to go to something that's completely clear. And I know it's used a lot in some YouTube paranormal shows, and I kind of dig it. It's not the obvious, but it's one of the phone apps. I think it's called Spirit Talker. And I use it, but the only thing is sometimes it comes up with certain names that I know are on my contact list. So that's a question I would definitely ask him if it's best to get like a phone that doesn't have any of your contacts, something you don't use as a phone or
Mhm.
the internet, and see if that helps. We've got more comments. What was that? What does that say? Here, I'm posting it.
It was from the outlaw Josie Wales, and Mothman 46 quoted, "Oh, you're gonna put it up?
Yeah, I
That's where my
did.
carpetbagger
I
friend is on
couldn't
the
read
Zero
it.
boat ride." Good to have you with us, Mothman 46, and you, Linda, and of course,
Hmm.
Ed. We have to have you back on the show sometime soon, Ed. I
Oh,
think we're
Ed.
booked through to June at the moment, but let me
Yeah.
touch base with you soon, Ed, because Jen and I were only talking the other day how we haven't had you on for a while, and we need to get you back on. It's always such a great joy to have Ed on the show.
Sorry, I'm just responding to them.
Okay, I'll try to think of something else to babble to. Did I tell the I'm trying to think if last week I told the story about my daughter's dream about the goblins. I think I did, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah, I told that.
I love that though.
No point telling. Well, she had a dream she just told me in the middle of the day that I think the exact verbiage was, "I had a dream last night about goblins. They were out back. You were shooting them." So they're the only two paranormal-ish weird things that have happened to me in the
Oh,
last
well, no,
few
no, no,
weeks.
no. You can tell the little story about when we first started dating. You used to tell me all the time about Miss Chloe in the back talking about frippets. They don't
Yeah,
know about her little
she used to have
imaginary friends.
some imaginary creature friends that she called frippets. I don't know where she got the name from, but she thought there were frippets in our woods. And I think I tried to ask her to, and this was when she was like, much younger. She was like 3. I don't even know if she was 4 yet back then. And so she kind of described them. And I think they were like dragon-esque, lizardy bird type things, like a combination of
Hmm.
these different characteristics. Maybe because she was
Yeah.
into dinosaurs at the time as well. I don't know. But yeah, she'd go out the back and call them frippets, frippets. She'd sit in the
Hmm.
treehouse out there, just yelling into the woods.
Didn't they used to come in her room though too? Didn't she like wake up in the middle of the night and see them?
I think one time I think she might have seen something called the Imaginal. She used to call something the Imaginal, the Imaginary. The Imaginary, she called it,
She is so
which is
smart.
it's a pretty sophisticated. And this is when she was 3 again. Like she didn't say my imaginary friend. Nobody told her she had an imaginary friend. She just started to call something the Imaginary,
Hmm.
and it would appear, and she'd see it, and I mean, I think children are more, and that doesn't even mean necessarily when I say I think, as I was about to say, I think children are more open to those type of things. That doesn't necessarily mean that there are frippets
Yeah.
or the imaginary running around, but you might want to do the intro before you bring them on, though. But just let
Yes,
me finish the frippet
I'm going
story.
to.
That doesn't mean that there actually are frippets in the imaginary running around everywhere, although they could be. Maybe we just can't see them. But somehow it's obvious that children engage with the imaginal world more, that they are
Mhm.
more open to creating this space between dreams and reality, between the
Mhm.
imagined and the real.
Yep.
And to them, it's as ontologically real as the physical world. Like Chloe still will talk. She thinks there's a brownie that lives in our house in the basement because we read, as part of her schooling, we read a story, an old English folktale about a brownie, and it was very clear what a brownie was in there. It was kind of a house goblin, house fairy. And so straight away she was like, we have a brownie. In fact, when I told her about the wall bang the other day, she said maybe it was the brownie. To make that story come full circle.
It could be. You never know. The more you talk about them, like we mentioned,
that's
even
true.
On what folklore dark.
Yeah, when
they were on, and you were talking, and your audio went a little cray.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah,
the fair folk, you have to be careful.
Yeah. Gotta watch.
But anyway, I think waiting now are our guests.
Yes,
if you want to roll in the introduction.
I do see. So I'll go ahead. So normally we have Dean do all the talking, and you know what? It's about time that I start talking. So
give my vocal cords a rest and give the listeners a rest.
Okay. So tonight's guests are no strangers to researching and investigating the unexplained. The husband and wife team are the founders of Supernatural Inc., which showcases their inventions of paranormal equipment, including the Necrocom, as well as the Ghost Helmet. He is best known for his recurring role on the Travels Channel's Ghost of Morgan City, as well as guest spots on Fright Club, Ghost Brothers Lights Out, and having recently built some equipment for Jack Osborne's paranormal television show, Portals to Hell. His better half is the head of the Smithville, Missouri Historical Museum and Inn, and is heavily involved in all aspects of the paranormal and historical research. So I am super excited to welcome KD and KATY STAFFORD.
Oh, we're muted. Oh,
hey,
now.
Hey guys. How are you? Can you guys hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you guys great. How are you guys doing?
We're great. How are you guys?
Great. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, KATY, for your service as well. It's very much appreciated.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
I enjoyed my time. I'd still be in if it were up to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yes, he would be. He's all who on?
Who on?
Well, however they do it.
Yeah.
Sorry, our camera's so dark, but
I'm trying to fix
lighting in the dungeons. Not too great.
It adds a tone of mystery. Don't worry. I know we're both excited, but Jen is super excited to have you guys on. She's been talking about this for a while now. So.
I love the fact that I actually get to talk to people from Missouri. So
Well, we're not from Missouri now, to be
right.
But they live in Missouri, I believe. Okay. Correct?
Yeah. We're from South Carolina. So.
South Carolina.
Yeah.
Yep, South Carolina, Greenville.
South Carolina.
So let's kind of get started with what got you involved in the paranormal? Any childhood stories? Anything like that?
I mean, I have several. I mean, but I guess the best way to put it is I've always had a interest, just a general interest in it. Yeah, I had things that happened as a kid. I had, but it's like lots of things. It's hard for me to put, and it was not just paranormal stuff, right? Like there was like a UFO sighting type thing that happened when I was a kid too.
Tiger.
And so there's
it's not a baby, it's a cat.
It's very loud. There's a lot of things that
you want to say hello? Okay.
He does sound like a baby, though. That's kind
of
interesting.
Does. Yeah, he does. It's weird.
There's a lot of things that drew me in.
He loves his dad, so.
But KATY, what about you? Any particular stories?
Well,
like specifically.
What, as a child or just growing up?
Mm-hmm.
I seen a lot of symbols, and just I didn't see like apparitions or anything like that. I'm not a psychic medium, and I don't claim to be one. But I did have Rocky Mountain spotted fever, so that may have contributed to some of the weird stuff that I was seeing. But my mom,
High fevers.
yeah, but you run a low fever typically.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the opposite.
Like,
But
I remember I hallucinated when I had strep throat when
yeah,
I was a
who
kid.
entered
Oh.
your room?
No, yeah, I stayed out of school that day, and I remember I was like 12 or 13, and my temperature was like 104 that day, and I just remember like dozing off, and then Tom Selleck comes
Yeah.
walking in.
Tom Selleck of all
my
people,
bedroom,
right?
and
Right.
he's dressed like Magnum PI with his red like Hawaiian shirt on. And he's got like a box full of football equipment in his hands. And I played football at the time. And so I was like, oh man, I'm going to miss practice. And that was like, I guess that was my subconscious coming through, like using Tom Selleck. Like, I'm sorry, Magnum PI.
But no, my mom always would tell me, no, honey, your brain is just growing. And I would see like, just like balls of light, real thick, cloudy things when I was younger. And as I got older, some of that, with my stepdad being a profiler for Homeland Security, which he's retired now. And then also my
He
dad,
was a cop too, though.
Yeah, he was a cop. And then also my real dad.
She's got like an investigative nature.
Right. So I intertwine being kinesics with the history and also profiling a location and going in. That's kind of how I work. But I do study all the physical, metaphysical things and stuff like that, because people
Good
ask.
stuff.
Yeah, so when we go to events, people ask us, questions.
That's always the first question, though. What sparked your interest in paranormal stuff?
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think I'd have a good
ghost
answer
box.
for that. By
I have a ghost box for me. I love ghost
but
boxes.
I don't really. That's what I always say too. I don't really have a good answer for that. I just always had an interest in it, and then like we wanted to investigate like more like public land stuff. Like when I was in the Army, we didn't really have a chance. But when we were in Germany, it's funny because like we went to Germany in 2007 or whatever. Nobody had like smartphones, and there was no smartphones weren't a thing, right? And then you had, so we go to Germany, and everything in Germany was so freaking expensive that we didn't get smartphones or anything until we got back in 2012.
We had a flip phone.
We had little flip phones, Vodaphones in Germany, but yeah, so we did a lot of investigating castles and stuff over there, like light investigations, right? Like obviously we didn't know the language well enough or the areas well enough to really just walk in and say, hey, we want to ghost hunt in your castle. Some people take offense to that, right?
Yeah.
But some people didn't, and
it just depends on I think where you go. Like there's still people.
Well, like the Wurzburg Castle, it's the Wurzburg Residence Castle, obviously.
Wurzburg.
Yes.
So
yes.
and then we got to Fort Polk. Well, I was deployed just about the whole time we were in Germany, and and then we got back stateside, and then she got pregnant with Logan. And so it was like thing after thing after thing, and we wanted to really get into it like more publicly or whatever. And I guess more, I don't want to say professionally, but I guess you'd say like
just more research mainly.
Yeah, like putting out what we do or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then so and then I was medically retired out of the Army in 2014, and we bought a house in Missouri, and then it was like, okay, well, I'm not deploying for a year at a time anymore, and so
no training,
so I'll be home so we can ghost hunt and do our thing now. So yeah, we kind of started our Supernatural Inc. sort of in 2015, but I'd say officially like 2016, right?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah. We started actually our group page, which is Supernatural Inc. It's INC, because Supernatural Inc. INK wasn't available at the time.
For whatever reason, that was weird.
Yeah, it was quite weird, but it
Quite weird.
it did become available. So yeah, we sweeped that sucker up real quick, and but we started, mainly KD. Because I'm asking him, I'm like, what is in this REM pod? Like, why is it like if it's only supposed to go off with like EMF and static? Just for example, why is it going off if you like walk or move, like any type of vibration? Because it's not supposed to sense vibration. So I'm just like, but I love the REM pod, and I have 2 of them, and I use them.
Well, so
it all kind of started with that, and then, but he's always been a tech person, even like in the military.
Yeah, but like as far as like gearing it towards ghost hunting.
Right, that we were running to know what was in this equipment.
I assume that would be the next question, is what led me to start building
equipment. For sure. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, that's just the general, the usual progression.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is that your next question? I could be wrong.
So I mean, you obviously probably watched a lot of, like I did, and I'm assuming everybody else did. We all had it in our head, like curious about the paranormal, but Ghost Hunters came out, Most Haunted, Ghost Adventures, Paranormal State. So it just trickled down from there. So then you're like,
and even before that, you had Unsolved Mysteries, which
was true,
and and I remember as a kid,
In Search of
yes,
In Search of was good too. We had a book when I was a kid, and it was like I can't remember the name of it, but it was like
really Haunted Tales of.
No, it wasn't haunted. It wasn't just haunted. It was like weird tales. So it was
weird.
Everything from ghosts to spontaneous human combustion.
Yeah, that's crazy.
To alien abduction. Like everything was in this big book, and I remember as a kid, I would just read through the book.
It was in our school library. It was awesome.
And read it over and over again, and we didn't have internet and everything.
Well, obviously,
we were kids.
We're old.
Remember,
we're not old. But we're not old, but
things change fast.
We use the index card to look for books.
The library.
Yeah.
Man. I remember those happy days. But it's interesting that you said you found that book, because we were talking about childhood experiences. But I think sometimes what we're exposed to when we're children through popular culture or through reading can guide us just as much into this kind of field as an actual experience might. I mean, a book can be impactful. A TV show can be impactful. So that makes sense.
I mean, at the time, it would have been the equivalent, of like a YouTube channel or something, is reading the book and, getting all these different stories just like you would. Just like some kid might find on YouTube these days. So I guess that's probably one of the things that really fueled my interest, is that book. So that's probably a key thing.
Yeah, I had a book when I was a kid, just quickly. I don't want this show to be about me, but I had a book called, I think, Monsters, Ghosts, and UFOs, which they'd released previously in 3 different editions, but there was a hardcover with all 3 books in it. And for a kid's book, it was pretty, it was pretty scary. It had obviously the standard stuff like Sasquatch and the Loch Ness Monster, but it had stuff on the Hopkinsville Goblin case, and it had like Bally Rectory, and it was loaded with ghost pictures and Jeff the Talking Mongoose, which always terrified me as a child. But that book had a massive,
yeah. What was the rabbit? That was a cartoon. I'm sorry, but there was like this creepy rabbit, like in the 50s or something. That what was that rabbit's name?
Harvey. McDonald used to be pretty terrifying.
I can't remember. It was a cartoon, and I know it terrified a bunch of children. It's this evil-looking rabbit character. Yeah. I just had read a news article on it the other day.
Hey man, when we were kids, it was like survival of the fittest, bro.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
If you made it, you were good.
What's that music?
You're probably hearing my train.
Oh,
I live near the railroad. So
it's either a train or a Hank Williams.
Wow,
Jr.
so you have a train near? So you have a train near your house?
Yes, it's right by my house.
Wow.
Actually, I'm not too far. I grew up like the street further that way that we actually have the railroad in our backyard. So I'm probably
Nice.
just a
Yeah.
block or two up from
Hey
it.
man, that's like
Yeah.
paranormal energy flows
But
down
let
the
me-
Yes, I
railroad
know.
tracks,
Tell,
right?
tell them what you do with railroad that we've tested.
Oh yeah, well I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
railroad tracks
Theory
are always
with
fun.
railroad tracks.
You can
Go
do
ahead.
a lot of things with railroad tracks. There's
Mhm.
like, I did find like it's weird. Like, have you ever tried using dowsing rods
Yes.
on the railroad tracks?
Not on the railroad tracks though.
Yeah, try using them like on the railroad tracks. It's weird because well, it might depend on where you're at or whatever. Could have been just where I was,
Yeah.
but I've done it several times, and it seems like the rods want to line up with the tracks.
They do or don't.
They do.
Okay.
They want to just like flow with the track direction. It's kind of like they want to point one way or the other down the tracks. It was really weird, and it would reverse. I don't know.
So they
It could
don't
have
stay
been
straight. They go left.
right.
and
Yeah,
right.
they won't point perpendicular to the tracks. They'll point like parallel
Gotcha.
with the tracks.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, I mean that was my experience with them, and again, I've only done it a couple times, but
Didn't you hook up like some?
yeah, we've hooked up like touch type devices, kind of like a REM pod, like.
Well,
where
we
you
used
close
our interactive field
it,
device.
but you hook it up to the railroad tracks,
Yeah.
and the whole railroad track. Well, as far as it, the electricity will go. That small voltage in the circuit, it will turn that part of the track kind of into the antenna.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, to form
For the
communication
for like
outside.
the REM pod.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we have an interactive field device that's it's not like the REM pod at all. At all.
Well, I mean, okay, so the IFD
Mhm.
is kind of like the REM pod, so it detects like something with mass coming close to it, so like it's capacitive, so anything like a person would have enough mass to set it off, like if you move towards it. So it's similar in that way to a REM pod.
And we also included
Like you can't put a stick up to it, you can't just wave a stick around it and make it go off.
right,
Yeah.
or even like if we have video of I was testing the
And
IFD.
it won't go off.
If you're pound on something or walk or
Well, with like a walkie-talkie, it's less likely.
yeah, it won't go off with the walkie-talkie because it's doing what it's supposed to be doing with the
Well,
sensors that are in there.
Without getting too detailed,
Yes.
yeah, that's one way to like check the tracks too. So there's lots of cool things you can do with railroad tracks.
Yes.
Okay.
You could
I'm gonna
hook
have to
high
try it.
voltage up to them, but you probably hurt somebody.
Yeah,
It'd
but
be cool to have a small section and do that though.
but we
Yeah.
added what's called a touch tray to our IFD. We just went ahead and made it one device because so basically you can also add like a trigger object to the IFD
Mhm.
instead of Katie was like, why are we making two separate
I wish
devices?
I had one. You're talking about it.
No,
I don't
we do have one.
I don't know.
I
where
have
it's at.
one. Do you want me to go get it?
No.
No.
He's like, no.
It's the smaller
It's
version.
too much. Don't worry about it.
But anyways, it's really well, I have a small one.
Well,
One of the original ones, obviously, and yeah, you can put a ring on there, a bullet.
I made it because I thought it would be cool to have some more like haunted item type devices.
yeah.
Yeah, because I carry around a
But
garage
we're talking
sale.
about this the way I'm trying
Yeah.
to figure out. Like I was trying to think of
So-
how I got here. It's because of the railroad tracks. So
Yeah. Well, how about this? So
yeah, let's see
I
where
understand
you want to go.
majority of what you guys are talking about because I'm totally into all that stuff. So some of the
Okay.
people may not know, like Dean, he
Right.
hasn't done a whole lot of investigating.
Oh, was it
so
'cause
it-
kind of
See the chat.
explain
Here, I'll fix it.
the devices that you guys invent and make for
Is there?
Yeah, I'm trying to fix
I
it.
can't see the chat. We're trying to fix it. So okay. Well, the touch tray is the one she was just talking about, and that's one that I made with shoot. A
There's
whole bunch of-
Linda
there's
and talking.
Linda.
Yeah, Joe Fox, Linda. How you guys doing?
yeah.
What's up?
Ed, what's up?
Okay.
Mothman 46,
So
what's
now
up?
Now we're into it.
Ed Schultz,
Mothman's cool.
hello. Wow,
Yeah.
Joe Fox.
So
Michelle Million.
the touch tray I made because I wanted something to like investigate haunted items more.
Because I carry around a garage sale.
Well, not just because of that, but haunted items has always been a cool thing to me. And yeah, like you said earlier, the shows are are an influence also, because I was,
Yeah.
I got interested in the items thing from the Haunted Collector.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
that's another
we
good
we
one.
love.
That was a good show.
Yes,
man.
it was.
It was.
I love
like
John
that show. Yeah, man. That was
Zappis.
a good
Yeah,
show.
he's
Zappis
great.
is super cool.
We've
Yeah.
never met him, but he has one
I
of
sent
our
him a ghost
boxes.
box though.
Oh,
I was like, "Hey, man,
really?
here's a ghost
Yeah,
box."
we sent him a ghost box. Yeah, totally
Oh,
want to
well,
meet him.
that must feel
Yeah.
good, you know?
Yeah.
Hey,
Well, I mean,
that's
I don't
cool.
know if he's ever used it or not, but it's cool.
Yeah.
And we don't sell those ink boxes anymore. So
But so there's the touch tray, and yeah, so it's designed with a little metal tray, and or I'll use like a capacitive type of 3D printer filament, and I'll print a little tray,
we have a
and
video
you
of
can
it.
put an it's okay, don't worry about it.
I
You
was
can put
just
an
gonna text
item
it to him through YouTube.
in the tray, and if anything comes close to it, it'll kind of turn the item into an antenna also, like along with the tray. If it's a metal item, if it's conductive,
Okay.
right? So if it's conductive, it'll turn it into the antenna. If not, it's still like enveloped in the antenna. So it's kind of like a trap to let you know something's trying to interact with that object or whatever, And I mean, there's never, to my knowledge, the reason why I made it is because I wasn't aware of any other device that was like something you could put an item on and kind of detect some kind of interaction with it. You could set things close to it or whatever, or connect them to things, but I thought it would be cool to have something just carry around and sit down.
Yeah.
Like put something on top of it. And
Yeah.
anyway, so that's that. And mostly what I do is ghost boxes.
Yeah.
But before I get there, I got the helmet, the ghost helmet, right? And I have the new one. I don't want to get it out right now though. I don't want to show it right
Okay.
now.
So is this
What do you
a new one?
Yeah, okay. So the first helmet was the one that was on the Ghost of Morgan City.
Okay.
So I don't know if you saw the last episode of that show or not. If you didn't, it's the last episode. Jeremy Leonard wears the helmet and he sees a bunch of crazy stuff. So
Yeah.
I won't spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it if you plan on watching it. And then there was another, I think Ghost Brothers Lights Out. Dalen.
He wore it in the
Don't spoil it. Dalen wore it. Dalen wore it. But I won't say anything else. But I will say he had a pretty interesting experience wearing it too.
Yeah.
And that idea came from I was looking for other ways to try and investigate the personal experience, I guess, and, because you can capture things on video and you can capture audio, EVPs, and all that stuff all day long. But what does that really mean to you? What does that mean, to you? In my experience, the most profound experiences, in my experience, are our personal experiences.
Yeah.
And people are most changed or most moved by personal experiences, as opposed to just getting a picture, and that's really cool to get a picture, but it's not like life changing usually, right? But when you have that person, and it's usually not something that you can capture on film. You can capture your reaction to it, but you can't capture what it is that you're experiencing. You can't capture, just how you're perceiving that moment at that time. And so that kind of set me off on the, it's not always about collecting data that you can point to and then prove things to science, right? In my opinion, we'll never actually prove any of this to science, because science is a very broad term. And I mean, just have to be things are accepted like individually, and to say the paranormal accepted by science that's never going to happen. So, but like UFOs, if the extraterrestrials do turn out to be a real thing, right? Then that's was something paranormal up until it was proven to be actually a thing. Here comes the cat again.
touch time. He was his
but
daddy.
anyway, so that's why I wanted to work on something. Yeah. That was
You'll have to give your kitty some loving, so he'll
he
like
don't want to
chill
get
out.
up here in my lap.
Come here.
He's being a butt. Come here, man.
He's like, hello, I'm down here. I want
know.
attention,
Yeah,
please.
he wants. He probably wants.
Lexi, will you give him some food, please?
Yeah. Please.
My cat,
Tiger.
my cat's a
Yeah.
barn cat. It's an outdoor cat. And today it was meowing at my door because it was a nice day in the Northwoods.
I love his meow though.
I had it open.
He's crazy.
There he goes. He's following.
He doesn't have a tail.
Oh, Bob,
Oh,
little
no.
bobtail. Those are cute.
Yeah.
He's a
He's
Manx.
a Manx. I
Oh, yes.
think.
Yes.
He's big. He's huge. He's
Mhm.
like 13, 14 pounds or something.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's a big
yeah,
cat.
he's
That's-
about 14.
That's like my
14.
cat. My cat's Doc Holliday. That's literally his
Doc
name.
Holliday.
I like that,
Yes.
Doc Holliday.
Yes. What was that line? What's that line from Doc? From oh my God.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Yes, that's it. I'll be your Huckleberry.
Yeah.
Funnily enough,
Yep.
there's some contention about that line. I was watching something the other day. Some people
Yeah.
say it should have been "I'm your hucklebearer" because that used to be the person who carried a coffin was the hucklebearer.
Right.
So there's a contention
Ooh.
whether he actually says "I'm your huckleberry" or "I'm your
Well,
hucklebearer."
Bear.
Right.
I'm the one who put you in the
Maybe we-
ground.
We could ask Val Kilmer, and he probably wouldn't know either.
Nah.
Speaking of asking things like Katie, just on what you were explaining then about the ghost helmet. I know there was similar technology. I think it was presumably similar because I'm not a tech guy and I don't know what you put into it.
You're thinking
But-
of Dr. Persinger.
Dr.
Yes.
very
Michael,
good.
Michael Persinger, exactly.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
what I find interesting is Persinger, much in a way like John Keel, suggested that maybe the energy itself
Mhm.
is the phenomenon. Maybe some energy triggers these experiences that people have. So what I wanted to ask you, as somebody who's actually made this type of tech, do you ever get a feeling? What's your feeling? Is your feeling that it opens something up and we have this experience, or that it actually somehow like hits the God spot in our brain and then we almost imagine the experience?
Well, that's the question, right? And yeah, I see what you're saying. Dr. Michael Persinger was actually kind of approaching it from the angle of he was trying to kind of disprove the actual metaphysical experience itself. He was trying to explain it by saying that was just an effect that was caused by low intensity magnetic field fluctuations produced by the Earth's irregular whatever, right? So yeah, and it's funny because he actually, a lot of people don't think of this, but he was the very first person to link paranormal or metaphysical experiences to electromagnetic field fluctuations. So when he did that, that's what sparked the idea to use EMF detectors and ghost hunts, right? So nobody had ever really done that until he brought up the idea of those electromagnetic field fluctuations messing with your temporal lobe in your brain, which is the part of this kind of the area of the brain that he believes that you can target. Now, I believe that's why I wanted to use the helmet. I didn't want to cover your eyes up, right? I tried it like that.
Yeah, he did ping pong balls, and I was like,
What for? Yeah.
I was like, you need to use some
Well, the ping pong balls are cool.
frequency with the lights and eyes, and have them.
The ping pong
y'all
balls.
would be wearing ping pong balls if it weren't for me.
Well,
I'm kidding.
I'm
I'm
not
kidding.
against the
I'm
ping
kidding.
pong balls thing. Still,
Yeah,
mean,
I am
it's-
not
it's-
the
it
genius
has its own,
behind.
It has its own purpose. That's part of the Gansfeld experiment,
But we ain't like them.
you can
Yeah.
coordinate that into other things. But I didn't like covering my eyes up because I felt like, when Dr. Persinger did it, he did it in a very clean lab environment. There was it's a Faraday cage that they had built in the lab, and that's what they would do the experiments in. And I thought, okay, so if you feel like you're if you're going to have actual paranormal experience, it would make sense to do it at a location where there has been reported paranormal activity. And then if you did have an experience, didn't know about that activity, that could validate the activity and the experience and the helmet simultaneously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the equivalent of a psychic walking into a location and saying, "Oh, okay, I'm getting a dude that wore coveralls or whatever." His name was Jim Bob. And there was a dude named Jim Bob here that wore coveralls, and he died right there. Oh, wow. So that validates that, right? So if you could do that with the helmet, then essentially you'd be doing the same thing, sort of, as a psychic could do, a psychic medium or whatever,
just like with Jessica Potter actually wore the ghost helmet.
Yeah,
And
did she?
She was the first psychic to wear it.
Oh, that's cool.
Can you tell her because she takes one of Jessica's classes?
Yes, I take one of her classes. Actually, 2 now.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
She didn't tell me, you guys. I thought I was going to be like, where people are just starting out in that, getting to understand the whole metaphysical and reading.
Right.
No, you guys are like up on this higher level. And she didn't tell me. And Cindy Kaza did the same thing to me. I'm like, you guys are putting me in these classes for like people that do this every day.
No, I'm not one of those though. I've had it my whole life, and I just started because I finally like, hey, help me. So I'm still learning.
Jessica's cool, and Jessica, she was. It's the first time I met her actually. Was at the infirmary in Randolph County Infirmary. Is that what it's called? Asylum or infirmary?
Yeah, in Indiana.
And so there were some people out there filming a movie or like a documentary or something. It was a movie and a documentary. I don't know.
It was a movie.
Anyway, I was just there for the helmet experiment. So and so they had chosen Jessica to be the person to wear the helmet. And so, they didn't tell her anything about where she would be. We put her in this room in the basement where a nurse had hung herself, or a lady that worked there. I'm not going to say for sure she was like a nurse, but she definitely was a woman that worked there or whatever. She had hung herself from one of the pipes in the basement. And so I was thinking, okay, well, if I'm going to put the helmet on her and she's going to see anything, she's going to definitely see it. If I point her this way, if she's going to see anything, she'll see it in this direction. So set the chair up, pointed in the direction where she would be facing, where the nurse had hung herself.
Yeah.
And
so you guys had the SLS
we brought her in, we put the helmet on her and everything. I instructed her on getting started. She got started, and right away she started talking about like a figure that looked like it was floating in front of her, or like levitating in front of her, like a person. And as there was a guy in the room with the SLS camera, and as he moved around behind her and behind me, or actually in front of me and behind her, and I could see the screen, he panned right past her, and you could see the figure of a body.
Yeah.
Like exactly where she
said it was. Yeah.
Saying it was.
Wow.
And,
that's validation right there.
It's validation for me because I don't have any video of this. So
they won't.
I don't have the video.
They won't release it.
It doesn't matter why. I just don't have it.
Yeah,
and
we've had this discussion. Yeah, we have had this discussion with Jessica, so they saw. Yeah, but
it's still cool, and that's kind of what it's all about. It's about the personal experience, and So I have a small group of people that I'm putting helmets out to, so we can get like a group, like a pool of people and their experiences.
Yeah, and Jack Neese is a psychic who wore it, and boy, it calmed her down a lot. Yeah. Like it actually calmed her down enough to where she wasn't being pulled into a million directions, if that makes sense. She was able to like focus and tune in on different things that were going on around her, and she went into a meditative state fairly quickly. So there's been a lot of and a lot of psychic mediums don't use equipment. So I was really surprised that and Jessica's open to anything.
Mm-hmm.
And
psychic mediums don't need equipment, man.
What Jessica doesn't believe like that. So
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, she likes to.
I don't know how that works.
But most don't use equipment. They don't use ghost boxes or whatnot. But it's starting to be that way. They're starting to use.
Maybe.
I guess. We'll
Yeah.
see.
So anyway, so there's the helmet. So yeah, so there's the.
Yeah.
And then what new
Any
device
other-
do we have? Do
well,
you guys want to
well,
go into the new device?
Sure,
'Cause
yeah.
Is this like an hour-long show? You guys said.
It is, but
Yeah,
it's
we'll go
fine
with it.
because
Okay.
Let's
I
make
know
sure we get
it's
any questions you guys have.
Yeah.
Out of the way. What do you guys got?
I'll give one more question, then let's go into the equipment. Jen, who follows your work, because she watches far more paranormal stuff than I do.
Yeah, I do,
I'm more,
a
I guess,
lot.
the UFO, I suppose, guy, and
I like
Uh,
that stuff too.
a little
Yeah.
bit of the cryptid
we
guy.
love
But
talk about UFOs.
I hear that you do some Bigfoot investigation as well,
Yes,
and
I
use
told him.
and you use your equipment. This is what Jen was telling me. So I'm interested. Does that mean you think that whatever Bigfoot is has a spiritual component or a non-physical component, or what's your take on that? And what have you found when you've gone out investigating using your equipment?
You know, like I don't know, man. Bigfoot definitely has a spiritual side, and
We did a documentary.
well,
did you?
we did we went
Yeah.
out and worked.
Maybe
with some
that's what
people
I
that are
saw.
working on a documentary. I don't know if they actually ever put it out.
It was more of a foreign. It was
It was a little indie thing. that
yeah.
they were
It
doing.
wasn't going to be aired in the United States.
Anyway,
as far as
so
I
we
know.
did some work,
Growing
but
up.
that wasn't really with like traditional Bigfoot. But I was thinking
It
like,
was with the Bigfoot people though.
yeah, they were Bigfoot hunters, but we were looking for a redheaded giant.
Yep. Yeah, we were looking for red.
So it's a little bit
But
different.
I loved it. It was
But-
great.
It's the
so-
Watchers.
So I think that there's a few different sides to the Bigfoot thing, right? I think that there's a spiritual, like metaphysical aspect of it, and then there's also like a genetic memory that we have sort of as humans, right? I think that these things have historically been something that we had to deal with in our ancient past, maybe.
Mhm.
And just like wolves, right? Like small children dream of wolves being chased by wolves, and but they dream of being chased by wolves even when they've never been exposed to wolves. And some have never even seen wolves, but they describe being chased by wolves in their dreams.
Ancestral memory.
And yeah, well, that's like a
form of
genetic
kinesics.
memory, right? That
Yeah,
we
it's a
form
form of kinesics
based on a need.
ancestral memory.
Well, some scientists believe that that's a memory or like a defense mechanism that we
Correct.
kind of
Yep.
form, so that even as a child at the youngest age, we're already being like programming our brains to prepare ourselves for like our most deadly predators or whatever, the things that could harm us the most or whatever. So back in that time, wolves would have been a big one, you know, or maybe like saber-toothed tigers or something like a Bigfoot, right? Like what's the word I'm looking for? A rival species, a rival like bipedal,
like a Nephilim.
No, rival, like
okay.
you know, like an enemy or somebody you're competing with, right? For resources or whatever, right?
Okay, right.
So you know, and we just became food to them at some point or whatever, and so that's something we had to worry about probably for a long time. Who knows? And I think that might be part of why there's such a tendency to believe in Bigfoot, even though like a lot of people just believe in Bigfoot, even though they've never seen a Bigfoot. It's just something that seems easy to believe in, kind of like aliens. You know, it's like for me, aliens seems easy to believe in. It's Bigfoot's a little bit more difficult for me to believe than aliens is. Actually, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I mean, in my head, logically, just aliens are a likelihood, you know, somewhere out there. And Bigfoot, there's questions. I have questions.
I think they could probably like teleport or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think
as far
certainly
as the physical aspect
yeah.
of a like a group of bipedal upright ape species living out there somewhere, it's that can reproduce on the level that it would need to continue living this long and just stay completely hidden. We don't find any
Yeah.
bones. We don't find,
They may say
Right.
dormant,
or if we do, whatever the government's covering it.
well, they may
I don't
say
know.
dormant in rocks. I mean, I don't know.
Do they
It could be-
hibernate
there's-
for like 1,000 years? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do they
if there
hibernate?
were if there were hairy ape men roaming the American woods, I think we would have bagged a few of them by now because there's more guns than people in this country, and there's more hunters, and
Yeah.
there's more
There-
hunters
Yeah.
on the
You know.
field in Wisconsin in open season than I think the 9th biggest army on the planet. And that's just Wisconsin. So
And hell, F-150. Just think about all the F-150s there are out there going up and down. I mean, somebody would have hit one on the interstate by
Exactly.
now, right?
Mhm.
yeah,
I
agreed.
mean, some of the smartest animals are out there getting hit on the interstate. So I mean,
But if you
I believe
recall,
people get hit on the interstates.
during our documentary, though, the spirits knew of the redheaded giants,
Mm.
and they called them the Bigfoot people. We got it through our
Yeah.
equipment.
Yeah.
They I mean, spirits were communicating
I
back
definitely
like they
think.
knew
Well, I
what
Right.
they were.
Well,
It's weird.
okay, so look at it like this, right? Like, so if Bigfoot was a big, it had a big population at some point, and they were actually like an aware ape species, you know, like they had developed like awareness, like me and you, like they can look in a mirror and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's me," and you know, they're aware of their existence, kind of.
Mhm.
Then it would seem reasonable that they would be ghosts also when they die,
Or they could be
or whatever,
shapeshifters.
or they would also have
Yeah.
spirits. They would also have a
Yeah.
metaphysical aspect. They probably had religion
Mhm.
of some sort.
Yeah.
That, you know, it seems to be the tendency,
Yeah.
right?
Kind of like
So-
with Mothman or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
I think maybe they come around during certain moon cycles. I think maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all theoretical.
Well,
Yeah, obviously, because you can't prove any of it.
No,
but that's
no.
Right.
but that's I'm kind of
Yeah.
open on the Bigfoot thing.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm gonna end up opening up a huge rabbit hole with Miss KATY here. But
Uh-oh.
if you think about
Go ahead.
Native Americans
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
and their stories of Bigfoot, do you know of any other stories? I mean, like we've heard of a lot of it. There's a lot of crazy stories, Native Americans with Bigfoot and the Wendigo.
Wendigo.
And all those fun little creatures, your skinwalker, which you did mention too. So
Yeah.
Well, like
Um,
with the Lovelock caves, you know, I believe that I know that they were big, tall giants, and
yeah, so they're
so
probably
with-
what you mentioned, the
It
Nephilim,
could
like
be
you
relative,
mentioned.
too.
yes,
Yeah, they're definitely those, I think.
It could be
with that
relative
one,
also
I think.
to the size, to the height of the tribe that killed them.
Yeah,
Because that's the tale, that's the account that we have of the giants from the Lovelock Caves is from the tribe that killed that tribe because they claimed that they had started eating their tribe.
But-
So they
Yeah.
so they went out like and lynched them and burned them. In
yeah.
their
But
cave.
the odd thing is that they heard no screams or anything from the caves, and they told them if you would just apologize and stop eating our family's carcasses.
They
I'm
did
trying to
find
be.
the bones, didn't they?
They found
they
two
were-
sets of remains, but they have been lost, of course. But they did.
Are we sure they're not in the museum?
No,
in town?
they've been lost, but they did find very intelligent duck, like
drawings.
no-
Oh no, that's right, decoys. I
yeah,
remember
duck
that.
decoys. They had
Yes.
shoes. They're very intelligent people or individuals or what have you. And they had red hair, and so I was trying to.
Yeah, there's a lot of question as to where the red hair came from. Were they
came from the-
European?
Well,
know,
it
were
could have
they
came from the
European?
minerals and the. I mean, who knows? Over
Or-
time, I
Or
don't know.
were
It's
they
weird.
European? Were
could-
they European and they had like traveled down that far and kind of got stuck and just stayed or whatever, and then for whatever
Well,
fell on hard
well, in
times and
Canada-
ate a couple people and was like, you know,
Well, in Canada, you know, they talk a lot about
it's possible.
Bigfoot and and stuff like that, and cannibalism,
Yeah, Sasquatch, man.
and
That's yeah, Sasquatch. up in Canada's Sasquatch, isn't it? Yeah.
Now, I do recall in Ohio, I will have to go reference back to my own personal archive.
What's the Australian Bigfoot?
Yeah, what is
it's like-
Yowie. The
Yeah,
Yowie.
Yowie.
That's right, because it's the same name as Jesus, and then or Savior or whatever in the Bible, right? Yeah, or it's it's Yahweh.
Huh.
It's not pronounced. It's not spelled the same. But
No,
it sounds,
spelled YOWIE.
right. It sounds,
Yeah.
Sounds
Yowie.
close.
Bigfoot is Jesus. Oh my God.
Oh no.
Brain-
Stop.
Hope not.
Stop.
Yeah,
But-
and I think that feeds back to what you were talking about before, though, Katie, that there might be a broader either ancestral memory or something in the collective
Yes.
unconscious, because these hairy bipedal half man half ape characters seem to be almost a universal cultural thing. Like almost every
Yes.
country you land on has
Mhm.
stories of them,
Yeah.
and people still see them, as we're saying today, but in places where it's impossible for the geography to sustain a breedable population. So there's something else happening. I don't doubt the experiences people are having. I just doubt the fact that it's a physical experience. That's all.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like I said, okay, when humans are, let's say there was another or some kind of crazy pandemic that wiped us all out, right? Like, and some other species came up after that. Would they sense that we were here before? Would they sense our presence? Would they kind of be haunted by us kind of the same way
I think
that
so.
we may be haunted by this other species? That, I mean, that's kind of the
Well, you're getting into the star seeds and all those
of what?
Well, they-
what?
I don't know.
Well, I don't want to get into it.
No, I'm just saying.
It's something
Just think is so. That's kind of the way I just feel. I look at it like that's my analogy. Is if we died, and another species came up after us, would they detect our presence like we detect the presence of of Bigfoot, of what we call Bigfoot or whatever? That's kind of what I'm saying. It's kind of philosophical, man. It's deep.
That's what I like. But that's not unlike perhaps the origin of fairy faith or fairy lore in England. Is there's this belief there was another race of people called the Tatuduianan before, who were the Gaelic or Celtic people got to Ireland, and they were driven underground. So there is this sense that maybe fairy faith is the memory of a previous population. So all of these things are interconnected, I think.
Yeah, and they just recently, I mean, well, I say recently, I think in the past few decades or whatever, actually found evidence of my pronunciation of this is probably terrible, Denisovian hominid species that was like predated man or whatever. And, it was like a smaller version of a human, pretty much. And so that's just one. And the only thing they have of that is just like a tooth and like a finger bone. And they have,
I thought they had like poop.
No, or maybe like a
turdlet.
like a turd or something.
They did. They had a turdlet.
And so they got like a turd, a finger
serious.
bone, and like a tooth. And they've developed this whole model of this other kind of species or whatever there are out there. Or that existed before we did. I'm a big believer in the ancient, ancient civilization, like going back a lot further than we actually.
We have a 12,000-year-old Native American artifact in our museum that I direct, but that's just a title. That me being the director, that's just a title. Anyways. We had the University of Missouri come in. They did carbon date it, and it is a 12,000-year-old artifact.
Years old, man.
And these intelligent people, these tribes, Indians, what have you, built 4-walled structures. I mean,
and as primitive as we think all that stuff looks today, like, okay, just imagine, like, okay, in 1855, a series of solar flares happened, and and it stayed daylight for like a freaking week.
with the aura
Now,
and all
just
that.
think, there was one astronomer that like captured it in his telescope, and he drew pictures of it, and I can't remember his name. But I can tell you that if that happens right now, we're all going back to the friggin' Stone Age.
Well, we had it.
Yeah.
Somebody posted.
That will 100%.
We had an M3. Somebody posted to my Facebook page.
Just
recently.
Just think
an
of
M3.
like
That's
they
high.
freak out a little bit over like a solar flare, like a little solar flare, a little solar storm.
They
right?
get bad in
and
Germany.
they kill satellites.
August.
Just the slight ones. Just imagine if we had one that kept it daylight for a week straight. It was so powerful. And it's not a matter of if it'll happen, it's when. So now, and when we go back to the Stone Age, what kind of grain grinding bowl could you make? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'll just use the one from the museum.
How good are your crafting skills?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go to the museum and get what I need to get.
I started thinking about that. I'm like, man, maybe I need to start working on my crafting skills.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
anyway.
definitely a wake up call.
Yeah, think about that, man. I was not just a wake up, like everything on the electronic grid could be destroyed. Everything.
I don't
no
even care.
communication.
I don't care. I'm like,
computers would be gone. No cell phones.
Yeah.
Any car that was connected to a battery would be destroyed.
Heck, man, they were using horses pulling cars at one point.
Again, you'd be pulling.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I think I've got a book by Ted Koppel on my shelf here somewhere. I think that's the author, called Lights Out, and he talks to various people who suggest what would happen if we had this kind of level of a solar event, and how, as you're saying, it would just devastate the type of civilization that we've all become accustomed to in the latter 20th and into the 21st century. It would just be gone. Like,
I believe there's something to that, you know.
And I think that's why a lot of people got scared of the 5G thing happening.
People get scared of 5G, stuff like that.
But I think that contributed because of the solar flares, that it would be more.
I think that people get worried about stuff like 5G and Y2K. Y2K.
Well, we're all over that, but still.
Well, but I mean, it was a problem at the time.
It was.
I thought it was going to end the freaking world. I remember. But it turned out it didn't. But in reality, I think things we should be worried about is the solar storms, because that is something that has happened within like recent enough history where it's within 150, 175 years, within 200 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Yes.
And so that's actually more likely, I believe, to happen than an asteroid hitting us, or a volcano even going off right now. I believe would be a solar flare, and I think we're about due for a huge one like that too.
Well, just from the vibration, the magnetic field of the vibration can also contribute to a solar flare, if you think about it for a minute, because just
it does definitely contribute, because
we were talking about that earlier.
It doesn't affect the flare, but it affects how it interacts with the Earth's magnetic field,
exactly,
and how it
and with the moon, and
also, which just happens to be another
with the wolf moon, by the way,
source of supernatural.
Yeah, I think when they had the Carrington event, I think it was called, right? And the telegram wires of the day actually caught fire. So that was before people had, all this kind of solid state transistors and, cell phones and all these other things, which are even more sensitive than big, Carrington thick lines of cable. So
that was it. Wasn't it? What year was that? What year was the
18 something? I can't remember exactly. In the 19th century, though.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what it was called. Good job.
Talking about technology, though, we should talk about some of your fantastic creations. So do you want to talk us through a few of them?
Okay, so I'll just talk basically about ghost boxes. That's what I do the most.
You want to show them? So I told them that you had 2 new devices that you were going to show.
Okay,
fantastic.
So which 2? You want to do what? This one? What, the Nanocom? Okay.
Oh, that is an MAD with a ghost box.
Move it up closer,
with a ghost box in it. So if you go onto our YouTube page, you will see a video of just the MAD. We call it the MAD. It's the motion anomaly detector. Yes. And it explains in the description of what it does. And KD was like, I'm gonna hook a box to it. And I'm like, go on ahead, honey, let's do it.
one.
That's right. Let's just go ahead
This
and do
is the
this.
first one, so I'm not. The only problem with this one is like it's the static detector. The MAD is, and so it detects if something's coming to or away from you, right? And
Yeah.
the problem with it being hooked up to the radio is that it's picking up a lot of the radio interference, so it goes off. But anyway, you
But
be able to
if
hear
I used this to do the STs method on a podcast 2 weeks ago, and it worked great
it.
because
Still, it's great. Listen.
oh no, it works wonderfully.
All right, listen then.
So tell them about the lights and all that good stuff. That just
Oh.
called me a B word.
This is basically the Nanocom is an FM based ghost box, handheld ghost box that the sweep is random, right? And it randomly sweeps across the FM band, and it's guided. Its speed is guided by the surrounding electromagnetic field. So when the static levels are low and everything, it's reading the field around it. And if it detects a spike or anything in the field, like if you hold it up to a fluorescent light or something, you can really hear it change. Then it'll change its speed. So basically, it's got kind of a mute function on it, also a random mute. So it'll mute randomly based it does some math and it mutes randomly for a certain amount of time under a second, and that I feel like blocks out a lot of unwanted stuff, right? So maybe whatever we get through it, if we let the ghost control it, maybe we'll get more of what the ghosts want us to hear, as opposed to just like a standard sweeping speed.
And plus the lights also explain to them what the lights.
The lights, but the lights don't work really well. Okay, so the lights are supposed to indicate whether something's coming to you or away from you. But right now, like I said, it's not working that great on this one because of the amp inside is tricking it. So I'm just gonna let it play and let you hear it, because
this is the first prototype of this device, and this is something that we're testing now.
The Nanocom part that I really like.
I said, yeah, that's right. I love that box.
So ask
you know I don't do that.
Is anybody here that wants to communicate with us for a test? Tell me your name.
I'm Ken.
Or something. So you see how you don't hear a lot of stuff coming out of just a little bit of static. That's the way I like it. I don't want a whole bunch of Katie. Yeah. I don't want a whole bunch of stuff coming through. That's why I've added the extra mute onto it, so that if something wants to, kind of the idea is if something wants to and if something can figure it out, they can release the mute and say whatever it is they want to say. So.
Yeah, the lights help me. Yeah, it kills me every time I hear "help me" through there.
I don't know how much time we have left, so that's just one ghost box. This is cool,
but it has the MAD attached to it.
This one's cooler. This is.
This is a new one here. Nobody's seen this one yet.
This is one that I made out of This is what I made out of an old Cobra CB, like a CB based radio, right?
I have one of those.
Yeah.
Cobra.
Yeah. So this one didn't work anymore, so I just went ahead and I rewired it and I turned it into a ghost box.
Huh.
So
we are so sorry, people. Okay. We can't control what it says.
Oh my.
Man.
That was pretty clear too. Huh?
Man.
Okay.
Watch your mouth. people.
So this
spirits.
is one. Now I built these like using a circuit that's based on a circuit that was built by Frank Sumption and used by him first to sweep to sweep radios, right? To sweep through the radio bands. Now it's not a circuit that he invented; it's a circuit that he designed based on an op-amp circuit. And I just basically took the circuit that he designed based on that circuit, and I changed it to fit the newer radios that are out today. And so,
Your newer radios that
well,
are
no,
out,
like
or just
modifying off-the-shelf radios, because that's how you do it. One does it typically just from scratch, build a radio tuner. Yeah, well, you could do that, but that's a lot of work. And so, when you
isn't that what it's in our Nanocom S's?
No, the Nanocom S is what do you mean the Nanocom S?
Nanocom S's.
No, it's the FM radio.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So anyway, this is actually AM, FM, and shortwave. But right now, because I'm in my basement, we're just going to use it FM.
Because it's all concrete down here, so it's great down here. That's what I thought I heard.
Can you hear us? What did it say?
Sound is poor.
Sound poor.
Sound.
Can y'all hear that?
A little bit, yeah.
You want to move it closer to the speaker? Let me move. Watch, I'll knock over everything. It's so clumsy.
Just a hair.
Just a hair. Just a hair. Okay. Oh! I told you. I told you I'd knock over something.
Dude. Yeah, she did.
It's a serious knockover.
Yeah, that's my audio codec. Oh man. Let me see that.
Uh-oh.
Oh my god, I broke it. I didn't break it.
What is that? Oh, you unplugged your headset though.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Don't touch anything.
You told me. I warned you.
That's underneath your arm. There you go.
Beautiful. Beautiful man. Oh, where's my phone so I can record and listen back later?
So, but this is just another one. And then this one is a pretty one too. And this is, we just call it the plasma box, but it's basically a Legba box. And a Legba box is just this one, but with like a really drowned reverb in it, right? So that's what this is.
And he does make those with reverse speech in it. That box originally had reverse speech in it. So I was really upset when he took the reverse speech out, which I don't believe he took it out. I think he forgot, to be honest with you, but he said he did. Because there's video of you using this box on YouTube with reverse speech.
Let's not now. Anyways.
Ain't that right? Ain't Mrs. KATY right?
I want to say this is on, actually.
That's right. Y'all heard it right here. Linda Jude, I don't know if you're still here.
Yeah,
Joe Fox.
That's why we call it the plasma box, man.
Yeah, so
plasma screen on it.
So what's cool about the plasma?
Yeah.
So is when you are using the box, we had basically, if something is coming close, you'll start seeing more interference on more on a prominent side of it.
Yeah, it'll start like blinking or
yeah,
real bright. Like when you touch it, you can see lights up.
I don't know if you guys can see it. Can you guys see it okay?
I mean, it's a minor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks cool.
It's just a justification for using a really cool
And explain to them this here.
That comes from my addiction to my 80s childhood TV shows and cartoons. And that actually
are you talking about the car?
Rider,
Knight Rider?
Yeah.
Kit.
Michael Knight.
Nuh-uh. You told me that
A
it.
shadowy flight into the world of a
You
man.
told me that it.
exists.
That's not what you told me.
That's the Hoff, man. Don't hassle the Hoff.
Whatever. I won't say anything. Whatever. I know you like to keep things secret. Whatever.
So yeah, that comes from my obsession with the 80s. But yeah, that's just this is going as like the same rate, the same speed as the radio is sweeping, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, so every time you hear it kind of speed up, you'll see the light speed up too.
And all you have to do is flip it on, and you don't have to adjust anything, because some of our boxes are, if you've never used a spirit communication radio,
Mhm.
you know, they can be kind of difficult. Well, some of our boxes can be difficult to use. But
well, there's a lot of controls. So
yeah,
what I just started making them like turn it on and let it go, and that's why I made the nanocom originally, is because I started thinking, I'm like, okay, so if you're controlling, if you have the ability to control a ghost box, right, and you, let's say you can adjust the sweep speed to a whole range of different speeds, then what? Okay, like what if you miss the right speed, right? What if you're sweeping on the wrong speed all night long? What if you just are not right? What if you're on the wrong speed your entire ghost hunting career or whatever? So I put it on the random and the electromagnetic field like interference, so that if something could choose a preferred speed by electromagnetic field interaction, then it could. So it could potentially change the speed in the same way that you have.
He doesn't want to be on TV.
A K2 would detect the EM field level and light up the lights, right? So the nanocom can change the speed the same way based on that level. So
what's the easiest of your machines to use for a total beginner, like nobody who's ever used one before?
I'd say the nanocom. Always
nanocom.
Yeah, because it's just a switch. It's just a power switch. You turn the power on and turn the volume up, and that's it. You're good to go.
And you could customize those too, like with your team name. You could customize, the face plate, and those have our custom circuit boards in them, and KATY builds those directly from scratch, then down to the enclosure to everything. And we do have a newer version out, and it's a lot thinner, it's a lot lighter. And he is developing another device, but this device here, I love this device. This is a sonar device. I love this little guy. Let me tell you. And
you don't
this
get cheap when you buy from here. See all these boards. You can't see that very well. I designed these. Like these. This is what's in my stuff, right?
Yeah, and he has them like with our logos or Legba logo, like a leg. Like they all have different symbols on them.
With blood rituals. So, you don't get that from Amazon. I'm just saying.
Those are his designs. But anyways, so I love the sonar detector. And this is our first one. This is a prototype. And I absolutely love this device.
Absolutely.
Yes,
it looks like something from Ghostbusters or something. That's a cool looking device.
Yeah, he made it that way.
Somebody's got an addiction with the 80s.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I love this device. I been testing this device for like a year now. Yeah. It's a bit, I love this thing. And then he made it to where I could put it on a tripod.
Actually, Austin did that, and then you stole it from him.
Well, he didn't pay for it, so
this
it's
is
mine.
ultrasonic range detector, basically. So this is like a backup alarm in your car, sort of. It's kind of a way to put it. But anything that comes within 6 meters, not 6 meters, 3 meters.
Yes.
3 meters. 3 meters, it'll start like lighting up when it starts detecting that, right? So see if I can.
So it bounces the sound.
See, as I don't like move my hand. I'm like way too close. Here, I'm gonna do it on the floor. There we go. All right, so as I move it down to the floor.
I put my
Oh,
foot
yeah.
up there.
Yeah, you
I'm
can
putting my
going
foot up,
down.
trying to put my foot up there, and
So, and this is so okay. So if we use equipment to detect things that put off a thermal or infrared signal or whatever, right? So we have motion detectors and we have EMF detectors, and we detect
IR
like
sensors.
every single kind of like barometric pressure detect sensors. There's a sensor for everything, motion or vibration.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so I thought using ultrasonic
Humidity,
sensors would be cool. And I
hydrometer.
think other people have done it too. I'm pretty sure this has been done before, but I just wanted to make my own.
I haven't seen
Okay.
one.
I haven't seen one either, but I mean, I just assumed that somebody has had to have had that.
Nah, who knows?
I don't know. Who cares? So I thought this would be cool because if we believe that spirits could potentially develop any sort of mass
Yeah.
during their interaction with us, whether that be what form that could be in form of like ectoplasm. Some people believe that ghosts actually form their speech mechanical components that we require as humans to speak out of ectoplasm when they make what we call disembodied sounds, right? So if that's the case, then that would also reflect ultrasonic sounds, or if they manifest, that could produce some sort of reflective material or something that we could reflect the ultrasonic sensor off or signal off and then pick it up on its return, and it could tell us if something's coming toward us or if something's standing in front of us, even though it looks like nothing's actually there.
Yeah. So basically, it sends out a sound and waits for a sound to come bounce back to it. And I'd seen it work twice. It worked really well at the Velisca Axe Murder House, but I had it pointed at a wall. Now it's pretty far away. I don't know what would cause that. 'Cause it was just me and Stephanie. Stephanie O'Reilly, who owns the 1889 McIntyre Villa. It was just me and her there investigating, and she goes. She's very intelligent. She's like, she understands sonar and all that. She goes, okay, so it make no sense for that device to light up like that, pointed at a wall. And I was like, well, there could be maybe the air conditioner could be causing it. And she unplugged the air conditioner. It still did it. I mean, we were trying everything we could to dispute.
You can't dispute spirits, man.
And so we left it alone, and all of a sudden things started happening. It was
yes, they do. Linda Judge. Linda Judge says fishermen have meters that detect schools of fish.
Yes, that's correct, and that's what this does.
Fish finder. I used to have a fish finder. Well, this does not detect schools of fish, because if you put this in the water,
it will be fried.
It won't detect anything.
Yes, it will be fried.
But if it uses the same principle, in that sonar sends out a signal and then listens for ping to come back, and then it kind of builds an image of its surroundings, right, or whatever its sonar is pointed at, and that's kind of what this is doing, just a little bit. I don't want to say simpler. This is probably up there with old school sonar technology, actually, in reality.
It literally, other than the MAD, I love the sonar detector and the MAD. I absolutely love it.
Now, I do have underwater sonar sensors that I can use, but that one is not. No. But yes, that's very good, Linda. So if you're underwater, right, and you're using this thing and you get a hit on it, it could be a fish or it could be a ghost.
Or Jason.
Right.
Is it Jason Myers? Jason
Voorhees? What else we got? Jason Voorhees, you mean?
Oh yeah. So what did you hook up here? What did you do here? And then you have this little guy. He's weird.
Yeah, I used that on the show. So I just got done filming a TV show. I can't say.
Is this your video feedback loop
show
here
right now? I would like to, but I can't, unfortunately. I will say I spent 3 months in Montana filming a show. and it's a big deal. But I can't say anything.
We just
Stupid.
did.
It's
Yeah.
You just
No, I
did.
can't say the name of the show, and I can't say who's in it.
Yeah. I know the show. I already know. I watched
you
it.
know? Oh,
I
you've been
think I
talking.
know.
You must have been talking to Jessica and
no,
Katie.
Jessica doesn't know. I don't think.
Probably
no.
knows.
I just have an idea. I could be wrong though.
You might.
But
You
No,
might.
I'm not going to say anything though.
yeah, I love how he attached that he combined. I like when he combines two devices in one because that's saving people money.
Saves me money.
It saves us money.
But it sucks when it doesn't work right. So it is what it is.
Well,
but it's a version 1.
yeah. So this is the original, and it's a prototype, and it's something that we're testing. Just like I've been testing the sonar for a little over a year, which that's and we there's that type of equipment we really don't sell. We might if we're at an event.
I don't feel. I mean,
because that is our own personal equipment.
Well, I'm not a ghost stop. You know what I mean? Like that's not what I do. So
Yeah,
I
we're
mean, a lot
not.
of people see that I sell ghost boxes. They're like, "Oh, you got a lot of equipment. You sell it all?" No, I don't.
No, we don't. We don't.
I don't have time. It's just me, there's no way I have time to build like all these little things and stuff. It's all I can do to keep up with the ghosts.
And then I built something very little with the Tesla coil and stuff because we are doing 3 of the experimental ghost hunts in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
So I had built the Tesla coil that's conductive with these small little LED.
Inductive.
Inductive.
I'm just saying.
Thank you. I need you to correct me because
it's a big difference.
It is a big difference. You are absolutely right.
It's a big difference.
So I like using the flashlight method, and a lot of people knock the flashlight method. I really don't care if they do, but anywho. So I was like, well, I'm gonna see if
Greg doesn't like the flashlight method.
Who?
Greg
Jen loves the flashlight method.
I
She's
use
always
it.
doing the flashlight method.
I'm not gonna hate on it because every time I go to hate on it and like trash, I always say my motto is to keep an open mind, and no one piece of equipment. Right. My motto is actually no one piece of equipment is actually any more valid than another piece of equipment when it comes to ghost hunting. I mean, you can't prove that one is more valid than the other, right?
Yeah.
So now there's personal opinion as to what
it just depends what works for you,
right?
And if you can tell whether or not you're getting intelligent response or not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so and I think that it has to take with a level of experience in the field. You need to take that into consideration as well. But the little device that I made, I just wanted to kind of coincide with the flashlight method, but also use it to where there's no power going to the little LED lights. It's more, on a
She
natural.
wants to do it with LED lights, and I get it. There's just a lot of problems with that. LEDs have a certain cut off voltage and all that. It's hard to fade them.
It worked really well at middle point.
These are all problems that have to be hurdles that have to be jumped.
And we were supposed to bring experiments.
And that's just a good example.
Yeah.
Right,
so
we have a really good example of building equipment of all the hurdles that it's like
right.
LEDs. Oh no, I want the flashlight method's cool, right? So you try to figure out a way to make something that you could do that with. It's not a flashlight, but it's crazy because just that one stinking flashlight is inherent to that kind of twisting that old. You got to have the old bulb, the old school bulb, and you have to like open the battery compartment just a hair, like crack that off just a hair, and then turn.
Is that why you tape the thing?
I put conductive like copper foil tape around the heads of them. Yeah, so it's like
I'm using a Tesla coil. You can buy big Tesla coils that charge your freaking cell phone, your mobile phone. Absolutely.
They wouldn't let me use a big Tesla coil on the show recently because they said it was too dangerous.
Would have looked cool.
And then they
though.
wouldn't let me use my
Yeah.
Jacob's ladder. It was like 6 feet tall. It was.
I
It was
made one of those
awesome.
back in the
Ah.
day, just for a Halloween party.
Oh
Jacob's
man, they're so
ladder.
fun, ain't they?
Yeah.
Jacob's ladders are great. I love Jacob's ladders. There's nothing like a nice, tasty plasma lick. Just rip it. So great, dude.
Yeah, until he's like, I wonder if I can still want to
Just touch
touch
it. You
it.
just
And
want
I'm
it so
like,
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's so tempting.
It's so beautiful.
I have just a quick, I guess, philosophical or theological question for you guys. You're on the front line because you're making this equipment, you're running experiments, you're engaging in a communicative way with the spiritual world or with the other world. Do you ever think that some of it might not be what it says it is, like it's
Yeah.
something else
Mhm.
presenting itself as the
Yes.
spirits of the departed? Or
Yes, absolutely.
I'm a huge proponent of that. Actually, like I say that a lot because you don't know what you're talking to.
You don't.
and unless you have like some sort of psychic medium ability, and you are like proficient and also confident enough in yourself to where you can actually. I don't believe everybody who says they're psychic can see everything that's going on around them.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everybody that says they're psychic are not psychic. I'm just saying I don't believe they can all be that psychic.
Well,
Whatever, right?
They have
Right.
a different level of
Yeah.
being. KD is actually a psychic.
right. So like these things, unless you can, even if you're psychic, who's to say these things can't disguise themselves to you?
Right.
I mean, if
That's true.
they are aware of their existence and they're aware of their situation, I believe that opens the door to a lot of them for realizing like bigger capability, bigger abilities that they have, and then they realize they can do things like channel or maybe temporarily possess people.
Well, I think
haunt
can
houses, and like
influence.
intelligently haunt houses, intelligently haunt locations, or be tied to an item and then intelligently influence anybody who interacts with that item.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think
Well, here lately, the past 2 years, we don't use our boxes to like summons things or to communicate with relatives or anything like that. We don't use our boxes for that.
well,
Um,
I do.
Well, so the past 2 years, I've had while doing events, even not even doing events, just with other our sister teams, they'll have relatives that are starting to come through, and
What
Midwest.
appears to be their relative.
Well, and that's the thing is,
Right.
when it first happened, you know, and I don't want to go into great detail, but I had to get off live on Facebook because this was like a personal situation. I had two
Mhm.
investigators over here crying. They were
Yeah.
for sure it was their father, but see, I can hear the box and I could hear a change in the sound and the frequency, and I can tell when that communication is about to be interrupted. So I think you're walking a fine line, like
Well, even for somebody who doesn't have an ear for a ghost box, or that's using a ghost box for communication at that time, like whenever you're talking to something, you think you know what it is. It's things that, well, historically, one of the telltale signs of, what is that?
That is a car just passing by, going really loud.
We had
a telltale sign of like demonic activity. One of those is the things will know intimate details about you, right? And they will try to use those intimate details to
Yeah,
subvert
I have a theory about that,
to
and they can
subvert
see
your-
emotional scarring, is what I
Yeah.
call it, emotional scarring, and they use that against you,
Oh,
and so
yeah.
therefore that is not of the light.
So I think that
Mhm.
things that try to interact with you personally and like tug at your heartstrings and things, I think that those things are probably the most malevolent things.
Yes.
Whether
Yeah.
or not they are intentionally being malevolent. See, now a lot of people look at it like, oh, I'm saying that they're evil spirits. That's not necessarily the case. First of all, you don't know what the death process does to you when you die, and then what you
Mhm.
come out like on the other side, right? And a lot of people, that's going to be different for each person in their situation. And then number two would be like I can't think of it. The
Well,
other thing, but like,
well,
yeah,
I had 4
there's lots
relatives
of
come
things
in.
that would change, like how this person would interact with you, and they could be like just attached to you because you look like somebody that they're familiar with, like their wife or whatever.
Yeah.
There's so many different reasons
Well-
why this thing could become unhealthily attached to you.
Mhm.
Well, when you're an experienced researcher, you know, I had 4 spirits come through, and for 2 different individuals, I was holding the dowsing rods, and the box was kept saying message, and I don't know if you know psychic medium Brandy Marie, but she was there with us, and she's a great psychic medium. But anyways, so I was holding dowsing rods, and I said, you know, if you have a message for anyone in this room, can you point the rods at that individual? So I pointed the rods
Mhm.
at an older woman, and uh, her father came through, and it even sounded like him. And then her uncle came through, and it really made her day. Like, he knew things about her.
And that's something that you could probably tell as the person having the experience, or whoever that is, whatever. It's the intention that you get from the thing, right? Is it coming through trying to comfort you and make you feel good,
Yeah.
like give you closure or something, or is it a relative that could be, because just because it's a relative, if it is a relative that's coming through,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean it's healthy, right?
Right.
Because they should probably just kind of move on too, right? Like, everybody should
Mhm.
move on,
Well,
like,
what they were
it's not healthy for either
so
party,
so
I believe.
these spirits,
I mean, you
I
just
believe that
make
they
your
were their
peace.
relatives. Now, I did have an occasion. I'm not going to say where it was at. I'm not going to say because, or but the woman lost her husband during the Desert Storm,
Mm.
and there's just certain things I think that you're walking a fine line when you start asking questions like, how well did I do with our kids?
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on a second. You should be confident in enough knowing that you raised your kids good.
Mhm.
I know you want to know. I know
Well,
she wanted validation.
well, yeah, she'll never get that from her husband. She'll never get to see him see the kids be
Well,
what they are
what
now,
happened
so.
was you can hear the change of the frequency coming through the box, and it told her she was horrible. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're walking a fine line there, and I told her,
That's the trust thing, though, right?
what
Like, you start trusting things. That's why you
you
ask those questions, right?
and I told her I was like, now you're walking a fine line asking a question like that, because I can hear the frequency starting to interrupt the communication, with
Mhm.
what possibly, I do believe it was her husband. Absolutely. It felt like it was. It knew what age their twin sons, how it said they were 3 years old when he died.
Yeah.
It was like very intelligent. And then all of a sudden you can hear disruption coming through. I believe I was using Inkbox S.
Mm.
And yeah, it was because I test these boxes, but
Mhm.
she had asked that. She was like, so did I do good raising our boys? And it was like, you're horrible. And she's like, huh? And I'm like, there's a fine line there. And thank goodness Stephanie O'Reilly was there. I was like, can you play the
Mhm.
tape back so I can explain to her that
Yeah.
there was a frequency change there? And then I have people ask me, how can I get a message to my loved one?
Yeah.
And the best way to do that is through prayer. Um, you don't know what is on the other side
Yeah.
of
Mhm.
communication when you're communicating through these devices.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah, you don't know. So
Mm-mm.
the whole thing is like, you don't know, and it's the same way with anything. Ouija boards,
Mhm.
you know, EVPs, any kind of evidence could be produced by something that is trying to manipulate you or
Mhm.
subvert your trust.
Well, I recently, today and last night, filed all of our home cases from 2017 all the way until 2021, and I counted 386 home cases.
Wow.
And so I was trying not to get distracted. I'm trying to put everything in order. And a lot of, when I'm looking through there, a lot of them were practicing Reiki, which is fine, but they were doing it in their home. And then also, most of them were trying to connect with loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say it's just massage, man. I'm just kidding.
No.
Just kidding.
I suspect that if there are negative or demonic entities, as I believe that there are, they must look for that type of vulnerability. They must look for a way in. And if somebody's wanting to talk to a dead relative and ask their dead husband, did I take good care of my children? It's got to be a doorway for those things.
Oh, sure.
To just,
Oh yeah,
straight in
they
on.
see somebody that they can that is obviously like hurting their you know, just like if you're a you know, a living person as a predator, somebody who would a lot of narcissistic people will pick people and kind of prey on their emotions. They'll manipulate them. They'll you know, make them think that, you know, oh, you're nothing without me or whatever. And you know, this could be the same thing that's being done to people by oppressive negative spirits. And it could be demons. It could be you know, like just the spirit of a human that's passed on. That's actually just
well, I know now,
not a very nice person.
This has been occurring to me for the past 2 years, and I know now, you know, what is taking place if this is a relative, and you know, it has brought a lot of.
You ever hear any stories about people who are haunted by relatives that they don't want to be haunted by?
Yes,
like bad
I have.
hauntings
I have
from relatives.
Yeah,
I've heard a couple interesting stories,
Yeah.
but those are always interesting to me because you don't expect to hear those.
Yeah, I agree with Linda.
So those ones are really interesting.
That's
to
right,
me.
Linda.
I find, like, in my head, like almost logic, like my logic points to those, like they seem more valid. You know, because it goes against the usual dynamic that you're used to getting, right? Like somebody who wants closure with their father, their parents, or whatever, as opposed to like somebody whose father was like had a heart attack but was abusive to them and like continues to abuse them even after their death or something like that. Those are the freaking crazy ones, man.
And we've encountered those, and you know, and
so anyway,
I have to take them off to the side to help them deal with that. I'm not a psychologist. I wonder a lot. I've asked a crowd of people, paranormal researchers, do you guys feel like psychologists when you go to do home cases or even like when you're doing events? I'm not a licensed psychologist, or you know, so.
Well, if you're working with people and you know, it's almost.
I mean,
like,
I'm a behavior analyst.
You almost have to take. It's almost like a kind of a responsibility type thing. Like you have to be responsible with the advice you give and stuff.
Yes, you do, absolutely.
People, because a lot of people will come to you. Like,
yes.
And they're not joking. They're not.
They're
not playing. They're not making jokes. They're like legitimately, seriously asking you questions and are listening to your response and taking that into account in regards to like the afterlife and things like that. So you're almost in. I don't want to say you're in the same role as like a spiritual leader, but like somebody who is in a role is like maybe a counselor type deal. So so you are automatically in that role. Like whenever you take on the ghost hunter or paranormal investigator mantle and start doing home cases, especially like that. It's like you're
why don't you get the helmet out real quick? And
whether you know it or not, you're suiting up.
Yep. Why don't you
for
I
sure.
thought you said you were going to show the helmet.
You want to get the helmet? You guys want me?
Absolutely.
Y'all want to see that?
Sure.
Yeah. Let's have a look.
He didn't you do some revisions to it? Yes, I already knew that. I was just asking. But yeah,
I will have to kind of say though, you guys are talking about, taking a risk when you're, trying to speak to the other side. So I've had my own experience with just dabbling and trying to do readings just for fun. And,
mhm.
I was supposedly talking to somebody else and, they started describing something that kind of made sense to me all of a sudden. And I thought, well,
Yeah.
that's a family member. And once it dawned on me, I'm like, something is really trying to jack with me.
Yes, you know.
And as soon as I went down the stairs, my grandfather showed up, and it was supposed to be my grandfather, and I was upset because he was holding my aunt's hand. She passed away when she was young, so it was those two, right? So I'm like, oh
Yeah.
crap, here, this is what I was getting, and I thought I was, but I knew it wasn't right. And bam, skin melted down, and I saw something, and it was laughing its ass off at me, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
God, you kind of gotta have a guard up. You really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. I had something very similar happen into my home because I was going through I was doing an art institute, went back to school, and so he worked third shift, and people would drop off haunted objects at our house, or they would like meet us, or they'd drop them off at our base camp.
Yeah.
And
That's cool looking.
yeah,
Ooh.
That's my
yeah,
surfboard
so
and everything
so
around
we've
the top.
added some cushioning around the ears for comfort.
Yeah, man.
We've done a
We got
lot
all into it.
to
You can't really see
this
it.
it's a helmet project.
No, it's not working.
Ah,
You can't see.
Yeah, well, you can't see the foam inside very well, but there's like foam.
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
inside
because
of
we were
this
trying to make it to where it's comfortable to wear.
one. I designed this one and 3D printed it. And
Yeah.
everything,
oh,
so-
cool.
Huh.
Yeah, it's all done by
And I
hand.
coated it with I painted it, I primered it and everything, sanded it and primered it, and I coated it with like a lacquer, like a clear lacquer. And so it's not.
Can I put it on? I
Sure.
want to put it on.
Yeah.
I don't think I tested that one yet.
Do you sell
Yeah.
these yet, or is that a prototype?
No,
or are they
I don't
available?
sell them. I
And-
mean,
And you can turn the lights off if the lights bother you as well. That's what I liked about it
I
too.
have like a
'Cause
small group of people. It's like maybe 10 people that have bought one.
Is
and
it on?
I don't like to say. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, I mean, probably not. These actually are a lot stronger than the old
yeah,
ones.
yeah.
It's meant to be worn with like a beanie underneath it.
Yeah, yeah, you got to wear a beanie under it just so it
Pull your hair and stuff.
well, and plus
Oh,
it's
they're on my head. Anyway.
is that Jeff? Poor Jeff.
Is this Jeff?
Is that Jeff?
This is Jerry.
Jerry, poor Jerry.
Jerry.
Oh.
Jerry was a race car driver.
And does that work along the same lines as Michael Persinger's
So
helmet
as
worked?
far as I could tell, okay, so I haven't been able to get in touch with what's the guy's name? I can't think.
His assistant.
Yeah, it was one of the people that worked on the original project with him. I can't think of his name. Michael. It's not Michael. I can't remember. Anyway, he worked on the original project. He was actually in, what was that show? It wasn't Portals to Hell. It was the other one that
With Nick Groff.
Nick Groff was in.
Oh, Lockdown, Paranormal Lockdown.
Yes. Okay, so when they wore a helmet, they wore a God helmet on Paranormal Lockdown.
Oh,
on
yeah.
this
It
episode.
didn't look
And
like
they
this.
no, it didn't look like this. It was like the old school one with the moped helmet, and so they had that guy.
Which ours was already developed well before that.
He was one of the original people.
Yeah, I know, he was original
I'm not trying
people.
to take his steam away.
Oh no,
anything
not
like
at all.
that.
I'm just saying that ours looks completely different from his.
Yeah,
I just
no,
wanted to put that out there
Well, the
because we
thing-
didn't copy his
Well,
design.
the thing is, you can't copy their design.
Right.
I don't know how I would copy their design. I don't know how I would acquire an original like God helmet because I haven't even been able to get a hold of the guy, so I don't even know how you.
But you
would go
did
about doing
speak
that.
with someone
But-
though.
No, I didn't speak with anybody. So here's what I did: is I read the scientific papers that Michael Persinger had
Yeah.
produced, and I just I looked at what they were doing and like the way that they were doing it, and I said, okay, if I wanted to do the same thing, how would I do that? And I just worked backwards from the end result to where I needed to start, and I ended up using the microcontrollers and the big electromagnetic coils on the side. And actually, I use sound, so I pump sound into the coils and I rotate them, and they're mirrored.
It hurts.
It works the same general way as the original helmet worked, except for also I have the LEDs, and the LEDs came from Mitch Altman, an engineer named Mitch Altman, and he developed something called the brain machine, and it's basically uses the principle of
hypnosis with light frequency.
well, it's called
and light does have sound.
I'm having a brain. It's called
I know
it'll come to me in a minute. Anyway,
has a technical name.
The LEDs are flashing at the same frequency as your brain operates at during different meditative states, right? So basically, it'll rotate through the gamma frequency, theta frequency, beta, alpha, delta, and basically what it does is it will kind of lull you into. It's trying to lull you into a meditative state. It's called oh shit! It's right there on the tip of my tongue.
I'm gonna give you some power. Put the helmet on. It might help you. I don't know. That thing makes it makes me sleepy. Like
I have a giant
I've been meditating since my early 20s, and so
oh my god. Oh, it's right there.
Put the helmet on, man.
It's right there. It's
was he the one that made the blindfold things too?
Okay, so he used you see a lot of people doing the Gansfeld with like blindfolds, but
are you talking about SCs?
No.
Oh, okay.
Gansfeld with blindfolds, you can't do it like that. You gotta use ping pong balls.
The ping pong balls.
Yeah, or something that will dissipate the light evenly and kind of make it, because you don't want to black it out, because I mean, what happens when you close your eyes? You black out everything. So you're used to seeing darkness.
Yeah.
You're not used to looking out into a unlimited, like unfocusable field of fog, white fog, in which you can't see anything. You know your eyes are open. You know you should be seeing something. You can see light, but you can't see anything. It's just fog. Right?
Theta stage.
And that confuses your brain. Oh my god, it's called light. Damn it, Katie. Brain.
Give me the helmet. No, I don't know. The helmet will put me to sleep. Put me in the
Okay, so basically the
brain
LEDs
entrainment
will sync your. Yes. Holy shit, you guessed it.
Brain entrainment.
It's entrainment. Good job, honey.
Yes, brain entrainment. Because I asked him if
that was hurting my brain.
Yeah, I asked him if he could coincide. Yes, the only reason why I just clicked on me because I asked if he was able to even do that, and you're like, of course.
Yes, so that's what the LEDs are.
It's
brain entrainment. And it's actually a thing. And so Mitch Altman was the guy who came up with the LEDs, or being able to do it just easily like this. And so I borrowed that from him, added it to the helmet, because I feel like if you can kind of lull yourself into a meditative state, then the electromagnetic fields that are rotating around, maybe they are, it's easier for them to interact with your synapse firings or whatever. If you're
with your what?
Calmer synapse firings.
What's that?
Your synaptic firing.
Okay, synaptic. Okay.
Synapses. Your synapses firings.
Okay. All right. I was just getting confused there with
your energons.
Yes, I get it. Yeah.
Fusion.
I just don't understand like what your
Okay.
I'm pulling KD.
So,
you like that?
Yes.
You like that?
Brain entrainment.
We've been married for 22 years. What can I say?
It's fascinating though, because we started this conversation at the beginning, or very close to the beginning, about having fevers kind of opening up this other window. And we talked about, I guess, children being in an imaginal state earlier. And we've talked about how Persinger's helmet, your helmet, change your brain state. Certainly things like ayahuasca or nitrous oxide.
Yes.
There's lots of ways shamans might have starved themselves,
right.
or monks
Yep.
might have whipped themselves until their
Bro,
flesh
That's
was
funny.
infected.
He brought that up.
Yeah, ayahuasca's definitely one for sure.
Yeah, so there's all these ways that we seem to be able to initiate an encounter with the other, but it sounds to me like the helmet's the least painful way, or the least dangerous way,
Yeah.
perhaps, of doing
Well,
this.
Yeah, and it was actually described. I read a magazine article. I think it was written in the friggin' 80s or something. It was what was it called? Electronic hallucinating or something like that. Or
Yeah.
hallucinating without with electronics. It
Yeah.
was really weird. It's a really weird article. It was
Yeah.
talking about the God
This
helmet.
thing's making me like wanting to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fading out,
So when
batteries
I
not dead.
test the helmets, I only wear them at 5-minute intervals because it puts me into a quick, I get really relaxed.
Mhm.
and I know we only have like a handful of helmets to test, but let me tell you, I get so relaxed, and I'll just be like, oh, I feel good now. So, but I don't want to do anything.
My most common, the thing that I got wearing it was, I mean, I have seen weird stuff. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I've seen some weird.
I'm not
stuff.
trying to like overhype my own stories though, because I don't want
I've
it to
seen
seem
some
like
weird
I'm
stuff.
like trying to sell hope to the hopeless or anything
Right.
like that. I'm not saying
But
that
we
I've
don't
invented
sell
a
those
device that
just
will make
to-
you see ghosts or
Right.
anything, like, for sure. But it
Right.
definitely causes some interesting experiences
Yeah.
that, and some of them have been valid to locations that we've been at.
Yeah.
And so that's
Through-
it is very interesting to me.
Surprisingly, with the SLS camera, we had an
talked.
experience with a spirit moving dowsing rods. At
Ooh, that's
Shawnee
cool.
Indian Mission on the SLS camera. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's an entity that's actually moving those dowsing rods. And so the person holding the SLS cam, I was like, do you see that? And she looks at me and she was like, I've never seen anything like this before. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's
Yeah, SLS cam is another interesting one. You know,
Yeah.
like, that's one that I have questions about. Yeah, it has produced
Mhm.
interesting results. For
but it
me
also
several
is a little
times.
glitchy.
Yeah.
Extremely glitchy. You have to be careful, but you know, everything's
Something
glitchy.
like that, though. I mean, I can't explain
That's what
that.
it is, man. You're riding a glitch, man.
I can't
with
explain
using
that.
electronics to hunt ghosts. You're riding on the
I
edge
say research
of
goes, but whatever.
of
I ain't
just
hunting nothing.
subtle energy level spikes and fluctuations, and that's what it's all about. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
That's where the communication is. It's not going to be
Nope.
in your face,
I was gonna change
punch
it
you in
later.
the face, haunting. It's going to be usually something so subtle that it would only be recognized or noticed if you went looking for it. So,
Well, you know what? You guys have officially become the longest talking weird show ever. We've never approximated an hour and 56 minutes.
2 minutes.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
we were obviously enthralled by what you were
Yeah.
saying, or
I'm
you
just
know,
using my battery, though.
we would have cut it almost an hour ago. I mean, I think it's both fascinating, and sometimes I worry about the dangers of opening these doors. I mean, that's just me expressing my personal opinion. I wonder if when you consciously, Jen doesn't feel this way because I think she connects far more often than I would. I wonder if when you consciously make an effort to connect with the other, whatever that is, whether it's demonic or spiritual or a higher whatever it is, I wonder if somehow that's putting you in a position of danger, I guess.
Of course.
Yeah. We
It's
don't
like
know
turning
what
your
it
back.
is.
It's like turning your back to the
Nobody
firing
does.
squad.
Mhm.
Like, you don't know. Like, you don't know when they're going to shoot. You know, they're going to shoot at some point. Oh, yeah. If you mess with this stuff for long enough, you're going to have something happen to you. It's so I look at it like this. It's an occupational hazard.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Well, you remember we're at Ashmore, and I had like hands go through my hair like this in the back of my head, and I thought he did it because it's like pitch black.
Yeah, but that's just scary stuff.
And we
though.
were
That's
live
not
on
like,
Facebook. I was so mad. I was like, "How dare you touch
but
me?"
that's not like
What's wrong with you?
that's not like a true danger. I mean, it
It
is.
touched my head.
It's
Like
a potential for true danger because it's something strong enough to
I
touch
can't
you and
see
make
it.
you feel
I
it.
can't see it. I'm
Or-
like,
It's
what makes
creepy.
you think? I told you to respect me, sir, ma'am.
or to even like make you perceive that something touched you, then yeah. But yeah. I mean, there are dangers there, but they're inherent to doing it. So when you start doing this, you kind of accept those hazards as.
And always
potential.
remember to close your ghost boxes out, and always, in my opinion,
Say 3 Hail Marys and.
I believe religion is corrupt, but I have a personal relationship with God. I'm not going to get all religious on everybody. I'm not going to do it. But anyways,
It's okay.
my mentor, I don't know how she turned into a mentor. She was a Turkish lady I met in Germany. It was funny how I met her. I'll go into the story another time. But anyways,
Mothman, peace.
no. Anyways, so I
No,
forget.
he said it's been an awesome show, folks. I was like,
Oh
peace.
yeah. Oh okay, Mothman. Yeah. What's up? I like that. Mothman.
Yeah, he's one of our favorite and most regular listeners. He's been
Yeah,
with us for a long time.
Yeah. But I forget what I was talking about.
There was a dude that I'm sorry,
What was I talking about?
I don't know what you were talking about.
Oh yeah, so make sure you close your ghost boxes out, and I always leave a gift behind when I leave because I don't want anything to follow me home.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, even
that's one of the dangers that he was talking about.
Right. So that's what
you home.
Right. So these are ways to prevent that. First off, regardless
you
or
have
not,
a distraction. You have a friend, right? And you tell all the ghosts, you don't want me. This is the guy you want.
Yeah.
He was talking smack on you in the parking lot just before we came in.
You don't have to run faster than the ghost. You just have to run faster than your friend.
Yeah.
That's right.
well, but
That's
all
right.
seriousness, always let them know that you're not here to disrespect them. You're not here to make them do anything that they don't want to do. Don't touch me unless I say it's okay. Just like I'm telling you, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But every time you use a ghost box and equipment, close that out. I leave you here in peace where I found you. I respect you. I care for your soul. I'm leaving you a gift behind. And I typically leave like a seashell behind, or a blue bead. And depending on where I'm at, if it's like Native American feel, I'll leave a feather behind out of respect. Leave something behind out of respect, even if it was something that was calling you every name in the book, because I have had things call me all kinds of names. And I actually like it. I'm like, because that is evidence. That's evidence. I'm like, yes, I love it when you call me the B word. I'm like, what else can you do? Can you? This is the one time I'll let you pull my hair. I'm like, because that's some evidence. Let me tell you something.
Have you guys been scratched though?
I don't think I've personally been scratched. I've been with people that
you have been. You've had a mark.
I've had a mark,
and he had a
but
coat
I
on.
call it a scratch. I would say it was a mark.
It was like a whelp. Yeah. And he is like, well, he goes, I don't know, maybe I scratched myself. I'm like, man, look at that winter jacket you got on, bro. I'm gonna have to ding you. And he's like, you're dinging me. Because I did chakras, line chakras and stuff like that. And I carry, protection. Well, I put selenite in my gearboxes because we had an attachment. But
comment.
Oh,
Mothman's comment.
Oh, well, KD had an attachment.
Smack it right out.
He had an attachment in one of his boxes. And
Mothman 46 just quickly said, "Tell Will Smith the ghost had Jada's name in its mouth."
Yeah.
Of
That's
Jem Shannon.
That's what I was
Thank
laughing
you.
about. Oh, it's funny.
But we should probably think about letting you good people get some
Oh
sleep. But
gosh,
could you?
it's been 2 hours.
I know we've
Wow.
I think the longest we've ever done is like an hour and 20 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And we've been doing this for like 2.5 years
It's the
now.
first.
It was absolutely fascinating.
I could
How do
talk
people?
forever about it.
How do I could talk to you guys? We have to do this again.
Yes.
How do people get a hold of what you're up to? How do they find out how to buy your equipment? Can you give us some URLs or some other ways they get in touch?
Yeah.
Any?
Supernatural Inc. Paranormal.com. And you can submit an inquiry. The best way, don't call the number on there because we get a lot of phone calls through our business line. So
And I don't answer
I
the phone.
listen to those messages, but anyways, I won't get into that. So the
Yes.
best way is
How
to
do people get in touch with us?
to inquire is to fill out
What website?
there's a form that you can fill out,
What website?
and it's Supernatural Inc.
Facebook.
Oh, it's Supernatural.
Just Facebook.
No,
Supernatural Inc. on
but
Facebook.
the best way to get a hold is supernaturalincparanormal.com.
Or that one, or the website. Yes.
And there is if you want to get in contact with us, you can email us, and it's a jot form,
It's
or you
all
can
on the
even
website.
or you can even hit the chat button on
Or
there.
you could just
and-
message us on Facebook.
Or you can message us
Supernatural
on
Inc. with a
Facebook.
K.
You can
And that's where
message
people
us.
that's where people buy your equipment as well if they want to buy.
Yeah,
it.
mostly we get most of our stuff on Facebook. Like that. That's just
Or
message the
events.
Supernatural Inc. Facebook page, and we'll message you back.
Yeah, and right now we have the new Inkbox S, and it is
Bye, Linda.
we're trying to make more of an affordable box for people
Yeah.
with prices and everything going up.
So the
And
Inkbox S is $125 right now. We don't want to take up too much there.
yes, and that includes shipping and taxes. And we
Okay.
have them made in stock at all times.
Oh.
So there you go.
Yeah, so you can go to Facebook Messenger or message us on Supernatural Inc. Paranormal on Facebook, or just chat or send an email through our website, or you can order one on our website. Everything's there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, man.
Sweet.
Well,
Yeah.
it was an absolute joy to talk to you guys, and
You as well. Thank you for
Yes.
having us.
oh,
We were so
pleasure.
excited to come on.
Well, thank you, and hopefully we'll
Our
have you
pleasure
back.
also.
I'd love
Yeah.
to have you
Yes.
guys back sometime.
Yes.
And until then,
Anytime.
Yeah, you kind of sound
Yeah.
like Billy Connolly a little bit.
well, it's
You
the
even got the
Australian,
beard.
but there is some Irish in there, so
Yeah,
I
I mean, you have it just a little bit. I think it's the beard. It's the look.
maybe I like
It is.
Connolly.
Yeah, well, and like the sound of your voice.
Ah.
There
Like
is some
the-
Irish in the Australian accent because we had an awful lot of
Yes,
Irish
that's
immigration
True.
to Australia. But on that
Interesting.
happy
All right.
note, until we see you guys next time, keep it weird.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Peace out.
Thank you guys. We
All
appreciate
right.
you. Bye, everybody
you
in the
too.
chat.
Bye. Keep it weird, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us tonight. If you're interested in checking out more episodes, you can find us at talkingweird.com. If you haven't already, please like the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Talking Weird Podcast. Make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to Talking Weird. We're available on most podcast platforms and YouTube. And if you do enjoy the show, please leave us a review. Dean and I would really appreciate it. Until then.